one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in the invocation by bowing your heads if you wish. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together this evening as we go about making decisions, protecting the health, safety, and welfare of our local community, enhancing our business environment, and making decisions that are hopefully beneficial to the future of Goodyear and the entire West Valley. Thank you for delivering us safely this evening and watching over our staff, both those going about diligently their day-to-day work in City Hall and our public safety and public works folks as they go about their 24-hour duty. Watch over our men and women overseas as they go about doing their duty protecting us, and may you bring them home safely. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you. Six of our members of council are here this evening. Councilmember Osborne is out of state on a family matter. Could I have a motion to excuse Councilmember Osborne?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilmember Osborne is excused unanimously. No expenditures to approve or ratify. We have one communications item, and I ask Mike Ullman. Mike, there he is. Deputy Fire Chief to come forward to recognize Lawrence Enyart for the Bronze Satellite Fire Station Award. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I've got a short presentation to show appreciation and recognition to Lawrence Enyart and Architects tonight, represented by Lance Enyart and Randy Jones. This is for their design for our last fire station built in 185, and it's from Fire Station Magazine. They call it the Bronze Satellite Fire Station Award, and we're very proud to receive it from them, and I'll let them talk.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We're certainly pleased and proud to be here today to present the Station Style Design Award for Design Excellence as it pertains to Goodyear Fire Station number 185. Lawrence Enyart couldn't be here tonight. He had another obligation at one of our projects up north at the Grand Canyon National Park Airport, but he certainly sends his regards and thanks. I'd like to thank Randy Jones, Senior Project Manager from our office, for all of his efforts in assisting with the design and the construction of the project, and certainly like to thank Mike Ullman and Chief Mark Gaillard for their diligence and foresight, without which this award certainly would not have been possible. So at this time, we'd like to present the award to the Mayor and Council and the citizens of the City of Goodyear.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to receive this on behalf of yours and all your firefighters' behalf. And of course, Lawrence Enyart is the
Principal.
architect.
Yes, the architect of record, principal.
And I think you've also, this is the Pebble Creek Station, and it's very attractive. And one of the greatest things is how welcome it was to the residents of Pebble Creek. And one of the reasons is for that, because of the way you constructed it, and it doesn't interfere in any way with their lives. In fact, it obviously enhances their lives. So we thank you very much for that on behalf of the council and the entire staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you very much. Opportunity now for any of our citizens to address the council on any subject which is not on this evening's agenda. We're going to have this meeting followed with the work session on the City Center and another one on the universities. Anybody would like to speak on a non-agenda for the council meeting? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to consent. I'll ask the city clerk to read consent items A through K by title only, please.
Item A, approve draft minutes of a work session, a regular meeting, and a special meeting held on July 13th, 2009, and a special meeting held on Monday, August 10th, 2009. Item B, authorize the city clerk to change the November 23rd, 2009 regular council meeting to November 16th, 2009, and the December 21st, 2009 regular council meeting to December 7th, 2009, due to the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays and in accordance with Ordinance 03-860. Item C, approve a request from H.J. Lickowitz, representing Cost Plus, Inc., for a Series 10 liquor license number 100-75844 for Cost Plus World Market located at 885 South Cotton Lane. Item D, approve a request from Lee Ish, representing Red Robin International, Inc., for a new Series 12 liquor license number 120-78082 for Red Robin America's Gourmet Burgers and Spirits located at 14551 West McDowell Road. Item E, accept the dedications of a portion of North Goodyear Boulevard and a portion of West Sherman Street. These segments are located adjacent to the Desert Edge High School. Item F, adopt ordinance 09-1191 relating to the privilege license tax, replacing in its entirety Article 4, Sections 8A-415B10, 8A-416C, 1E, A1-417C, 1E, 8A-450C11, 8A-570B2, and Regulation 8A-350.3B of the Tax Code of the City of Goodyear, providing for severability, penalties for violations, and establishing an effective date. Item G, adopt Resolution 09-1326, authorizing the execution and delivery of loan agreement number 91A129-10, approving a loan from the Water Infrastructure Finance Authority of Arizona, authorizing the taking of all other actions necessary to the consummation of the transactions contemplated by this resolution and declaring an emergency. Item H, adopt Resolution 09-1327, authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Goodyear and Daisy Mountain Fire District for provision of sworn fire personnel medical examinations. Item I, adopt Resolution 09-1328, authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Goodyear and Maricopa County Community College District on behalf of Estrella Mountain Community College for use of the city's Emergency Operations Center. Item J, authorize the city attorney to execute a retention agreement with the law firm of Engelman Berger, P.C., and item K, authorize the city attorney to execute a fee agreement with the Mangon Law Firm, P.C.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, would anyone on council wish to remove an item from consent? Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move we approve the consent as read by the clerk.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Souza. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Lord,
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa,
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier,
Aye.
Councilmember Antoniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Pasillo,
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, we have two items on our business agenda this evening. Both are public hearings, and first one is a public hearing to consider a right-of-way annexation, and no action will be taken tonight. But I'll open the public hearing and ask Katie Wilkin to address the council.
Thank you, Mayor Kavanaugh, members of the council. The city received a request from Suncor to annex 1.3 acres of land located along Old Thomas Road right-of-way between State Route 303 and Cotton Lane. The annexation area consists of two parcels. One parcel is abandoned right-of-way owned by Suncor and is a taxable parcel. The other is a non-taxable parcel owned by ADOT. Suncor is the only petitionable owner, and so the annexation meets both the majority ownership and majority assessment tests for annexation. The blank petition for this annexation was filed with the county recorder on July 28th, which initiated the 30-day waiting period before petitions could be signed. During the last 10 days of this 30-day waiting period, the city is required to hold a public hearing to receive input on the annexation. After the 30-day waiting period, Suncor will have 1 year to sign the petition and file that with the county recorder. Once the petition has been signed, the annexation will be scheduled for council to take action on. So that concludes my presentation, so I'll take any comments or questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. Would the applicant like to address council? Would anyone from the public wish to comment on this subject? Open public hearing. Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And no action will be taken tonight. Are there any comments from council? Okay, we'll move to the second item, and we'll have a public hearing to consider a major general plan amendment for the North City Commerce Park. Open the public hearing, and Joe Schmitz.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Before I start, I want to point out that this item will be recommended for postponement, but since it was advertised as a public hearing, it would still be appropriate to provide anyone who's in attendance an opportunity to speak on this subject before considering postponing it. The matter was tabled in November 2008. Although it was recommended for approval at that time, staff did not feel it would be appropriate to change the land use designation on the property to industrial while its existing zoning was low-density residential. It was recommended that this request be tabled to allow the applicant 9 months to file a rezoning application to make the zoning consistent with the industrial land use designation that was proposed in the general plan amendment. It was thought that the rezoning request would essentially catch up to the general plan amendment, and then both would be acted upon concurrently. To date, although a pre-application meeting had been held, no rezoning request has been filed. Apparently, the general plan amendment was requested assuming the property would be sold, but that sale has since fallen through. As a result, the landowner is reconsidering whether or not to pursue the general plan amendment or to keep the existing residential land use and zoning. The property owner only just recently regained control of the property and will make a decision whether or not to proceed with the general plan amendment within the next few weeks. For this reason, staff's recommending that the matter be postponed for 6 months to the regular City Council meeting to be held on February 22nd, 2010, to allow the applicant time to file a rezoning request or withdraw the general plan amendment. If the request is formally withdrawn, this matter will not be reconsidered and no further action will be necessary by the City Council. If Council chooses to follow staff recommendation, the motion should include the additional language that has been provided to you just before the meeting, which is denoted in red print and reads as follows: unless the applicant submits written notice to the city withdrawing his request prior to such meeting date. So if that it would be included with the motion, the matter could be withdrawn and not reappear before the Council. If the applicant chooses to initiate the rezoning request, then that will be processed and then brought forward concurrently with the general plan amendment in February. That concludes my remarks, Mr. Mayor. If there's any questions or clarifications needed, I'd be happy to try to accommodate them.
Okay, this piece of paper here with the,
Yes, sir.
that's what you're talking about for the motion. Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. Would anyone representing the applicant like to address council? Would anyone from the public wish to address council? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to postpone until February 22, 2010, assuming the council wishes to make that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I got a motion.
I'm sorry.
You beat him out?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Vice Mayor, motion to postpone, and the seconding was Councilmember Cavalier.
Mayor, can I clarify? Is that to assume that the language, unless the applicant submits written notice to the city withdrawing his request prior to such meeting date, is included in the motion?
Is that what you'd like?
Is that, well, I mean,
Well, I'm
I guess
assuming the
per
latest.
staff's
staff,
presentation.
I'm assuming the latest statement this is it right here. Do we need to have that read?
I wasn't sure. I saw everybody.
That is
You
the
have this read?
recommendation at this point.
Yeah. Why don't we read the motion? You still want to do the motion?
Oh, yeah, I think
Okay.
we have to, so.
Yeah.
We'll postpone Adoption of the resolution for 6 months to the February 22nd, 2010 City Council meeting to allow the applicant additional time to file a rezoning request unless the applicant submits written notice to the city withdrawing his request prior to such meeting date.
And that is your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, the motion is read, and it was second. Again, Councilmember Cavalier?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, we have a motion and a second. Again, further discussion by council. Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. Okay, before we go to our work sessions, we'll close out our meeting, and we move now to comments, current events by members of our council.
I just have one. Today, I attended the Metro Phoenix DNA. This is a group of businessmen, of 28 different businessmen, and it's an initiative by the MPAC. And they're looking at trying to change the image of the Phoenix metro area. They feel it's outdated. It doesn't help us bring businesses in. They're looking to attract college graduates, the top of the college graduates, to come to our metro area. They want to bring the bright and the creative group here. And so these businessmen have gotten together to create a plan, and of that plan will be a website. There'll be a magazine, which they hope will have no advertisements in, that we'll be able to use for marketing. And so they're funding it totally. So I'll just keep you updated as this committee progresses. And again, for the arts community, they emphasize the need to create a culture of an art community in the metro area.
Yes.
Yes, see, I knew you'd be happy about that, Frank. So I just think it's a positive move they're making, and the fact that they're going to fund it. So I think they'd like the help of the city, but they're not asking for money. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You were on vacation the whole time.
I was on vacation, but if I could, I'd like to comment on her remarks, because this is apropos. Every place I've been this summer, the smallest cities and the smallest towns had 10 or 12 art galleries, performing arts centers, amphitheaters, and the culture and art was just everywhere. That's what brings people to the city to spend money. That's what brings people to the city to do these things. And I'm glad to hear that this is going on in Phoenix. This is wonderful. And we need to do the best we can here and be working in that same direction, because without that, we lose the arts, we lose the culture, we lose everything. And those other cities in both Colorado and New Mexico are doing very well. It hasn't hit, the recession hasn't hit them nearly as hard as it has hit us. The tourists coming in through the summer have made up the difference. And we could have the same thing here in the winter. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, well,
Very
besides
pleased.
that, they want to try to focus publicity away from home invasions, people carrying guns on the street, because on their European travels, that's the questions they're getting from our European counterparts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what about these home invasions? What about people carrying guns? And is that what Phoenix is going to stand for? So we have to draw a new picture, and we have to be able to sell the public on what the real Arizona is all about. So it's, I think, a steep hill to climb, because we've sort of gotten ourselves at a place that is very difficult. So we welcome citizens joining in when you learn about the program, and you are the ones that can help spread the word.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Frank. Both of you. Councilmember Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to comment basically about the same thing that Frank was talking about and the Vice Mayor was talking about, and that's guns. Maybe we ought to issue, when they fly into our airport, issue holsters and pistols so they're in concert with the residents of Arizona. You don't know, can't realize what damaging movement this has made throughout the country and throughout internationally. We are really gaining the type of recognition that we don't want. And I think that when the legislature passed this law, and one of the things that the inactive legislature did was pass this thing rather than passing taxes. And meeting our budget deficit head-on is to pass something like this, which is terrible in my opinion. And it doesn't do the state or the city any good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, any comments from the city manager?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any inquiries of staff by council? Okay, before we close this meeting, are we going to meet there or here?
We're going to meet there.
Okay, so I'll close this meeting, and then we'll meet immediately, I assume, correct?
Yes.
That's good.
On the city center, and that will be followed by the universities. So this meeting's closed.